You are listening to a free version of the Majority Report with Sam Seder. To support the show and get another 15 minutes of daily program, go to majority.fm, please.
The Majority Report with Sam Seder.
It is Thursday, May 27th, 2021. My name is Sam Seder. This is the 5-time award-winning Majority Report. We are broadcasting live steps from the industrially ravaged Gowanus Canal in the heartland of America, downtown Brooklyn, USA. On the program today, Republicans tender a joke of a counteroffer on the infrastructure bill. Meanwhile, Republicans are set to filibuster the idea of a January 6th commission. And while the GOP fears grow over a 2024 Trump run, what they have to do with the Biden DOJ's fighting to protect Bill Barr's meddling in the Mueller investigation. Top doctor in Japan pleads for the Tokyo Olympics cancellation. Climate activists take a step forward in thwarting ExxonMobil's relentless pursuit of lighting the planet on fire. Biden EPA reverses Trump's secret science rule. Democrats in both houses and across the party push for expanded government health care insurance. Biden to name the first slate of ambassadors next week, including L.A. Mayor Garcetti to India. And the Transportation Security Administration announces that pipelines must inform the government when they suffer cyber attacks. You can file that in How Has This Not Already Been the Case folder that you may have around the house. All this and more on today's Majority Report. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for joining us. It is Thursday, as you know, and you know what that means. That means that yesterday was Wednesday and tomorrow is Friday. Emma Vigeland, how are you?
I'm well. We had a Knicks victory last night, first Knicks playoff win in 8 years, and it was really, I know I'm a dork, but I was like getting emotional watching these, fans outside of Madison Square Garden, just the jubilance. And I know, oh, Knicks, they suck. They're so mismanaged. It's a trope, and it's true. But yeah, the city loves the Knicks, and it's got me a little choked up.
Wow, that's very sweet. I did not, I wasn't even aware of that trope, really. I just knew they weren't terribly good. But yes, their first playoff, that's good. It's got you in a very good mood. I'm glad to hear that. Mm-hmm. I'm in a bit of a good mood because I feel like we are getting closer to that moment, where we're going to start to see where the rubber meets the road, as they say, where the proverbial, stuff hits the fan, where things are going to start happening shortly. And that two things have happened today or I should say over the past 24 hours, that have edged us closer to this. One is apparent awareness or resolution by the Republicans in the Senate that they are going to filibuster the creation of a January 6th commission. We'll talk about the details of this a little bit later. But they also came back with their much-awaited counteroffer to the counteroffer on the infrastructure bill, and it was laughable, like full-on belly laughable. And all of this is going to create pressure and gets us closer to the end of the kabuki theater that we have been witnessing, which is the Biden administration attempting to negotiate with Republicans who have absolutely no desire to come to an agreement on just about anything with the Biden administration. A stated lack of desire. And the Biden administration has been engaging in this kabuki theater as a way of placating the concerns, the demands, the own kabuki theater, the narrative building that some moderates want. We're going to talk about all of this in a bit. But here are the Republicans also becoming aware that we are getting to at least the beginning of a new phase in the passage of an infrastructure bill, which is likely to mean that Republicans aren't going to be participating in this, and they are trying to figure out what their talking points are going to be when it comes to not wanting to sign on to a desperately needed help for our physical and societal infrastructure. Here is Mitch McConnell saying that Democratic spending is going to hurt America. Here's that now.
The Democrats' hard left turn has already hurt our economy. But they still seem to think that massive bill should only actually just be the appetizer. Just the appetizer. The administration proposed a total of about $7 trillion. $7 trillion of spending in its first few months in office. That absurdly overpriced COVID package would actually be the cheapest of the three massive bills Democrats actually want to pass. For some perspective, about $7 trillion is considerably more money in inflation-adjusted terms than America spent fighting and winning World War II. The Biden administration wants to tax, borrow, and print more money than America spent on World War II to finance a grab bag of miscellaneous liberal programs that would further jack up prices on the things families actually need to buy. It took less money to win a global war than these Democrats want to spend on a hodgepodge of stuff like electric cars and welfare programs. $7 trillion. $7 trillion of mediocre socialism and liberal social engineering. No serious expert thinks this is what our economy actually needs. No wonder. Larry Summers says he's concerned that these proposals are, quote, substantially excessive.
There's the kicker.
Dear.
Way overdoing the requisite response, end quote. The sooner this administration can get the memo, the more bipartisan progress we'll be able to make, and the better off working families will be.
Oh, that was just so delicious. And, you might say that the first part of his speech was the appetizer, and the real hearty meal was the Larry Summers name drop.
Well, the Larry Summers is the giveaway here. This is a speech not meant for the Republican Party. This is a speech that is meant for the Beltway media, because the Republican Party has completely lost its ability to leverage that old talking point about deficits. You notice he didn't even say the word deficit, right? I mean, it used to be deficit hawkery was the way that they would attack a bill like this. But it is no longer operative. The deficit hawkery on the right is completely gone. It was totally jettisoned. It was always fictional in many respects. But
it's not tenable anymore. The media has decided that this big of a lie about deficit, concern, they're not going to go along with it in the post-Trump era. So they've kind of have to abandon it. I mean, they beat that dead horse to death.
The problem is that the Republicans abandoned it during Donald Trump. And therefore, it became untenable for the press to maintain that fiction. There was no Paul Ryan there to pretend like the deficit was important. Pete Peterson has since passed away. Nancy Pelosi was attacked for her pay-go pushing. There's still a little bit of that pay-for knee-jerk response within the Democratic Party. Part of it is a function that this is going to have to be passed through reconciliation. It's the only way, and those are some reconciliation rules. But as a political matter, Mitch McConnell knows there's no appetite for this in the Republican Party. He needs to basically try and scare senators, I guess, and people in the administration as to the existence of some type of band of experts. But the point is that Larry Summers has also now been equally debunked as essentially a voice in the Democratic Party. He attempted a month or two ago to throw a wrench in the COVID relief bill. It failed because he was mad that he was not picked to be in the Biden administration. Everybody knew it in these circles, narrow circles that Mitch McConnell's trying to speak to. And so there is no toehold. There is no toehold ultimately. And this is going to become more relevant when we start to talk about why it is going to be a fight within the Democratic Party about the infrastructure bill rather than one outside of the Democratic Party. So that's the first act, or the first, the one, that's the jab, if
that's
you will.
the appetizer.
That's the appetizer. And
I would not want to watch him eat food. Just the thought about,
and that's also just
he lifts up his neck and then it goes in there, right? Kind of like some sort of Star Wars,
and then it just dissolves.
Situation, right?
So, but he would not be saying the word appetizer if this was meant for the public at large, right? He was talking to inside the Beltway. Here is Ron Johnson trying to talk to outside the Beltway. Remember, Ron Johnson sees his support amongst the QAnon Republican Party, which is a vast majority. We're talking 50-60% of Republicans believe that Donald Trump is actually still the president, or he's actually the real president. These are Ron Johnson's people, and here is his attempt, and it is also going to fail. But listen to this.
There's a manufacturer I talked to in Wisconsin. Average wage that he's offering is $20 an hour. He's got 1,000 jobs that are not going to be filled, that he can't fill. In Wisconsin, our unemployment rate is at 3.8%. So again, commodities will go up and down, but as that labor shortage, which by the way is created by government action, we're flooding the marketplace with dollars, personal savings, pent-up demand. That's going to fuel inflation. But the fact that we have incentivized people to stay on the sidelines, not engage in the labor market, and not offer their services is going to drive up the price of labor. That doesn't go up and down. That only ratchets up in one direction. Now, you may say that, hey, that's good. If you get a 5% wage increase, it's not very good, though, if prices go up 6 or 7%, which is what we're on a trajectory to achieve. That is sticky inflation. That's here to stay. And my concern is that creates an expectation of future inflation. And I know I'm reading articles saying there's no way we could ever return to stagflation. I'm seeing the conditions. I'm seeing the ingredients being concocted here for potential stagflation.
All right, first off, everything he is saying is everything he says in that first half of the statement contradicts everything else. And at one point he starts to realize, like, wait a second, I'm proposing that people get a 5% bump in pay. That's not great because we're going to have inflation that's going to be greater than that. Now, what we have is a situation where, yes, demand has increased. I think it was Macy's and a couple other department stores have seen the number of shoppers